All right, let's take a look at section 2.4, which is applications of linear equations, which is word problems. I know that's everybody's least favorite. So first thing you want to do is read the problem. That seems pretty self-evident, but I do have a lot of students who ask me how to do a problem, and I ask them if they read the problem, and they say no. So it's always helpful to read the problem. Assign a variable. I'm going to talk more about that in just a minute. Write an equation, solve it, and then state the answer. Make sure you check to see if the answer seems reasonable. I will get answers occasionally, something like gas mileage is 6,000 miles per gallon. Well, that's pretty unrealistic. Maybe 30 to 40 miles per gallon would be more accurate. So if you get something really, really weird, just kind of check to see if it's reasonable. Okay, the product of, we're going to multiply two things. We're going to do this. See that word and? This is the other thing we are multiplying. So I've got 5, and I'm going to, and that means put a multiplication there. And a number increased by 8. So that is a number increased by 8 is negative 60. Usually once you write the equation, then solving the equation is pretty straightforward. We're going to distribute the 5. And get the x by itself. So we're going to subtract 40. And divide by 5. And we get negative 20. That's a 0. I don't know if you can tell. All right. 5 added 2. So we've got 5 added 2. The product of 9 and a number. Okay. So watch for commas. Commas are helpful when we're speaking because that means like pause or take a breath. But it's also helpful for math. So kind of keep reading until you get to the take a breath portion. So 5 added 2, this entire thing, product of 9 and a number. Well, the product of 9 and a number is 9x. The result is equals. Also, watch out for less than. Less than, you have to reverse the order. Reverse the order, reverse the order. If I said, say for example, 7 less than 10, you would not do 7 minus 10. You would do 10 minus 7. Notice I said 7 less than 10. So you do have to remember to switch the order on this. So we're going to put this one first, minus my 19. Be really careful with that less than. Subtracted from is another one. Again, subtracted from, you would have to reverse the numbers. So I'm going to get my x on the same side. And subtract my 5. This is 8 times x. To get rid of the 8, we're going to do the opposite, which is divide. And we get negative 3. All right. Look for this word total. If it says the word total, that means you're going to add something up. You're going to have a sum. Okay? So whenever we see the word total, you're going to be adding things up. In 2012, that should come up there actually, Summer Olympics, oh, whoops, I was wrong. In the 2012 Summer Olympics in London, now our comma, Japan won 4 more medals than France. Next thing I want you to do is I want you to write down Japan and France. Do not skip this step. Do not skip this step. Do not skip this step. I'm not even joking. So notice I have Japan did something, but I said nothing about France. I didn't say France did something. I said Japan did something. So whichever one is not described, in this case, that's France, that one is going to get the X. One more time. Whichever unknown quantity is not described, that's the one that gets X. Then it says Japan won 4 more medals than France. So more than is add, 4 more than, and we already said France was X. Okay, so our first sentence gives us our X's. All right. Then the 2 countries won a total. We're going to add something up. What are we going to add? We're going to add our 2 countries. Do not skip this step either. Total of 72. All right, so we're going to replace our Japan with what we said Japan was equal to, 4 plus X. And we're going to replace our France with what we said France was equal to, which is X. And we are going to combine like terms and solve by subtracting 4 and divide by 2. And we get X is equal to 34. Now, make sure you're answering the question. How many medals did each country win? So I need both countries. So far, we only have X. I haven't actually answered the question at all whatsoever. Finding X doesn't tell me anything. Well, we can get our answer, but what we're going to do is, notice we said X was equal to 34. X was equal to 34. So that tells me that France won 34 medals. We also have to find Japan. Now, I'm not sure why, but some students kind of intuitively know how to get the answer and some students don't. So let me walk you through. Japan is 4 more than France, but we already found out what France was. France was 34. So 4 more than 34. 4 more than 34 gives us 38 medals for Japan. Okay, so make sure you answer the question that's asked. Okay, don't just get X and then say we're good and we're going to stop there. Cherry's Coffee House found one day that the number of orders for croissants was 1/6 of the number of muffins. So we're talking croissants. And we're also talking muffins. Okay. We said croissants were something. So that means my muffins are going to get an X. The croissants were 1/6 of the number of muffins. 1/6 of means, often math means multiply. So 1/6 times X. Total, we're going to add things together. We've got 2 different breakfast rolls. That's our croissants and our muffins. Total of 56. Okay, so do not skip this step. Do not skip this step. Okay, and here's why. Okay, we know that croissants is a 1/6 X, and we know muffins is X. When students skip these 2 steps, they give me this equation every time. Every time they forget our X, whatever that one was. They always forget it every single time. I don't know why, but they always do. So if you write out the word croissant and replace it with what croissants are, if you write out the word muffins, replace it with what the muffins were, you'll be a lot more likely to get the correct answer. Okay, do not skip these 2 steps. This does have a fraction, so our least common multiple is going to be 6. And so if you recall, when we have a fraction, we divide by the bottom, which is 1, and multiply the top. So 1 times 1 is x. And I do not offhand know what 56 times 6 is. It is 336. We're going to add these together and divide by 7. And we get 48. 48 is equal to x. 48 muffins. Now, go back to the original question. It says, how many were croissants? We didn't care about the muffins, to be honest. So that means the only answer we're looking for is croissants. So 1/6 of 48, 1/6 times 48, divide by the bottom, gives me 8, multiply the top, I've got 8 croissants. All right. All right, local computer user, we've got members, non-members. Members, non-members. Right. It says each member brought 2 non-members. So for every 1 member, there were 2 non-members. For every 1 member, there were 2 non-members. Total means to add them up. Add them up. And there are 27 people total. Replace our members with our x, our non-members with our 2x. Combine like terms and divide by 3. And we should get 9. And it does want members and non-members, so we need both, 9 and 18. Sometimes we have 3 unknowns, but you're always going to have one that's not described at all. So that's the one that's going to get the X. We've got a piece of pipe, and I can't draw to save my life, but you get the idea. When you cut it into 3 pieces, do your best to make sure each piece is a different length. If you cut it into 3 equal pieces, visually your brain gets tricked into thinking that they're the same size, and they are not. So just kind of be aware of that. Okay, so just do your best to cut it into 3 different lengths. So we've got the longest piece, and we've got the middle size, and we've got the shortest piece. Okay, one of these is not described. We said the longest is, and we said the shortest is. Well, the middle size is the one that was not described. So the longest is 10 more than the middle. 10 more than, our middle we decided was x. And the short is 5 less than. Be careful with the less than. That means you got to switch the order. Our middle, so 5 less than our middle. And we've got a total of 50 inches long pipe. So our long piece plus our middle piece plus our short piece is going to give us 50 inches. Replace the long with 10 plus x, our middle with x, and our short with x minus 5. Combine like terms, plus 5, and subtract 5, and divide by 3. All right, we want the lengths of all 3 pieces. So we decided the middle piece was x, so that's 15 inches. X equals 15. 10 plus our middle piece, so 25 inches. And our middle piece minus 5, so that's going to give me 10 inches. All right, I'm going to stop the video here and then take this remainder of the notes in another video. I don't want the video to be awfully long. So I'm going to break it up. I'm going to have a part A and a part B. And so this is the end of part A.